Hey all, it's Josh here. So we're going to be starting off our MESBG tournament recap here with game number 1. My opponent for this game was Sebastian, who you guys may or may not have seen in some other reports on the channel, and he decided to bring his last alliance. So here is a shot of everything that he brought, and we'll bring up a list in a second. So you can see he's got basically 3 combat groups. One that's pretty much Numenorians, a bigger one with elves, and then another smaller one with elves. Looking over his actual list here, if you guys want to pause it, you can read through what his list was. Basically, he said he wasn't trying to bring anything super hard, and he was just kind of looking to bring stuff he doesn't normally bring and try it out and see what he thought of it. The scenario that we ended up playing, so the way the tournament actually worked is that we were given a pool at the beginning of each round to veto from. So in this case, for our first game, we were given pool 3. And after vetoing, we ended up with retrieval. So again, if you guys want to pause to just read through it, you can see kind of what we had to work with here. So it's the 2 relics in opposite corners, and we're just trying to get to the other person's relic and kind of move it back to our sort of half of the board and get it off the table if we possibly can. That was the main objective for our game here. Let's start with our deployment. So this is what everything kind of looked like once we finished deploying. So you guys can see my great beast over here, and then I kind of put everything centrally. The Shadow Lord is this one right here, and we ended up with, you know, everyone within 6 inches, so that the first turn shooting from the elves wouldn't be that effective. Can't remember how many bows he had in his list off the top of my head. I think it was 7, and a couple of them were Numenorians. But you guys can see, so Sebastian's relic is here. Let's change the color. So Sebastian's relic is here, and then he's kind of castled up with his elves over here, and most of his Numenorians are over here, and their goal is to come over and try and protect his relic, and he's just gonna try to kind of overwhelm me. You can see my relic is down at the bottom, so down over here. And yeah, throughout the game, for whatever reason, he decided that he didn't need to go after my relic. Sorry, it's down here. Relic is down there from mine. So he was just basically trying to fight me off. So we'll go through it, and you guys can see how that kind of played out for him. Our round 1 went to the Alliance for priority, and Sebastian's luck this game was pretty horrible. So to start things off, he failed blinding light channel from over here. Not that it would have really done anything, to be honest, because I mean, it's the only shooting I had is my 9 orc bows, right? So I don't know. He shouldn't have been too worried about it, honestly. But yeah, he tried it to hopefully keep it up for the game. Failed it. Unfortunate. So yeah, that kind of sucked for him. And as you guys can see, so this is after his moving, and he kind of didn't really move anywhere else. He's just kind of sticking around where he is. So obviously I put up the Pall of Darkness with the Shadow Lord, and then I went in for a Sap Will from the Witch King, so that's what this picture's for. So Witch King, and then Círdan's right there, and we went in for the Sap Will, and we ended up taking off 2 Will from him, and he resisted with, I believe, just his one... Oh no, he didn't resist with any because he used his free will to try and put up that blinding light earlier. Not too much happened on this turn. So the elves shooting actually killed a couple of Morannons over this way. Needing 6s to hit them, which was, you know, kind of annoying on my end, but it is what it is. It happens. And then other than that, nothing else really happened. So on to turn 2, or round 2. And this is the beginning of round 2. So the priority went to the Alliance once again. And you guys can see where kind of all my guys ended up after last round from moving. So they're all kind of huddled around the Shadow Lord to stay within, you know, his 6-inch bubble to make sure they don't get shot. So for this one, again, it was a very uneventful round. The only thing that really happened was the Witch King, he threw a black dart into this knight, ended up killing him. So Sebastian's one and only knight was gone, which was good for me. Okay, going on to round 3.
If you like what you're watching and want to help support the channel, check out our shop at etsy.com/shop/battlebond-miniatures, where we sell a variety of proxy models, terrain, and game accessories by creators such as KzK Minis that can be used for a variety of tabletop games. Use our discount code up on the screen for 10% off your next order, and don't forget to give us a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and now back to the video.
Round 3 was Alliance priority again. You can see he finally decided to branch out a little bit as far as moving goes. So obviously all his Numenorian side of things kind of moved up over this way. His elves over here mostly stood still. And you can see on my end, kind of swinging around this house. So because his relic is right here, basically I want to get my beast to come around over kind of like this, and to get in there and kind of body block while I bring a bunch of orcs in like this to grab his relic. So that was the plan. This round, though, was a pretty big one for me. So you can see that Sebastian actually has his banner right here. And you guys can see the position of the Shadow Lord and the Witch King. So what I do during my turn is I end up moving guys over. So basically these guys all kind of shuffle over, and then these guys kind of shuffle over in this direction, so that I can have a gap here to walk through and do some magic. So the Shadow Lord goes through, and he actually compels the banner right here and moves him so he's not base to base with anything. So he ends up about right here. And then the Witch King follows up. So you can see banners right here. He's just outside of being base to base with everything else. And the Witch King gets a bead on him with black dart and kills him. So Sebastian so far has lost a knight, which is a pretty big deal for him, and then his banner, which is an even bigger deal for him. And that was just poor placement on his part. I will say this game was probably my luckiest game out of any in the tournament, which it kind of sucks because, you know, it's the first game of the tournament, so you kind of want some of that luck to be spread out, you know, throughout the whole day, or both days actually even, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. This was probably my best played game tactically, so again that has to do with it being, you know, the first game of the day, the first game of the 2-day tournament, all of that stuff. So it was easy for me to recognize and spot mistakes like that on Sebastian's end, unfortunately for him. Yeah, so other than that, my orcs got a couple of kills with their bows from the Howdah, which is, it's over here. It's over on this side. So they were shooting over into the Numenorians that were over there, and then yeah, that's pretty much it as far as events go for this round. So we'll move on to round 4, where things kind of start to happen. So you guys can see this is after the move for round 4. So Alliance gets priority again. I decided to drop my Pall of Darkness from basically this round onwards. So if he gets some shooting in, whatever, it is what it is. We're pretty much engaged at this point. Yeah, so you guys can see that the beast still has to go. So this is after Sebastian's move. So you can see he engaged my lines over here. And then he came in over here with one of his heroes with the spear support. And then we're going to be coming up on my move. So that means the very first chance the Great Beast gets to do some damage. So let's see how he does with that. Oh, this is just transfix, of course, over here, so that, you know, nothing happens. Got to make sure we do that. And it was from the Shadow Lord. Keeping his heroes at bay. So here's the line the beast has, and I was able to move most, well, not most, I should say, basically every model that wasn't engaged just kind of scattered to get out of the way of the beast. And so he's going to come through in this line, so he'll be kind of just crossing the path here beside the house, just staying outside of clipping it. And so this ends up being his final position. So this dice here is where he would have ended up if he would not have been stopped. But he got stopped by an elf warrior, unfortunately. So he ends up killing 6 models, half of which were mine, which was fine. Obviously, it's way more costly to Sebastian to be losing his models than it is for me to be having mine get trampled over by the Great Beast. This lone hero right here stopped the beast in his tracks. Yeah, I mean, I was pretty happy with that, because like having to fight one lone elf, that is not really a big deal for the beast. Like, even if he loses, the elf probably isn't really going to be doing much, right? And then I have this bead on all these guys over here the next turn, or the next round, for trampling once again. So I will say at this point, this was pretty much an ideal matchup for me, because all of his baseline troops, I just needed 4s to kill them. And, you know, going through, rolling 2 dice, needing 4s on every single one, that's pretty good odds of killing them. So, again, another factor that kind of went into the state of this game. Okay. So we're still in round 4 here, and this is just the Witch King. So he came around over here, and we threw a black dart into Isildur's horse, and ended up killing it, knocking him off his horse, as you do. And it's tough, or no, the combat hasn't happened yet, so the elf is right here. But the elf ends up losing, so unfortunately Sebastian's rolls, again, his luck was pretty poor. He was rolling like three highs for combats pretty much the whole game. So the elf loses, and the Great Beast just tramples him. Doesn't trample him, but, you know, stomps on him. And that leads us into round 5. This is how kind of the board state looks at the beginning of round 5. I finally win a priority, which was nice. There wasn't any heroics called by anyone. So, lucky me, the beast gets to do his thing and trample. So he's just going to be heading in this line over here, straight for these guys. And then that frees up Sebastian's relic, which again is right here. And as you can see, he's kind of like shifted over in this direction a little bit, right? But for whatever reason, he didn't want to make a run for my relic, which is down here. Like he could have easily just sent these guys over and around this way and, you know, tried to just hold up my lines. So he could have like come in here and possibly engaged and ran around that way to try and get over to my relic. But for whatever reason, I think he was counting on his knight getting over there by himself and maybe dismounting and grabbing the relic and then running back or something like that and passing it off. But because I killed his one knight right off the bat, you know, that wasn't really an option for him. So yeah, we can see Shadow Lord, Witch King, my big group of guys. So, Great Beast. It's his time to shine. He gets his trample over here. And again, the dice is where his base will end up stopping. And he just ends up killing that entire group. Pulling his weight big time. But again, this matchup was pretty much ideal for him. Needing 4s to kill the frontline troops regardless and not having to actually fight them was a pretty big deal. And I did end up picking up the relic on this round, so you can see it right here under his base. I have a couple of orcs right here, and they just... I had one walk over and kind of body block over here to try and stop Isildur from being able to just come around and kill my guy. And then the other one grabbed this relic and started to make his way back over to some reinforcements. Yeah, so here he is after he's killed everyone, gloating. Okay, and then, so yeah, you can see here's my orc body blocking, and here's my other one going to grab the relic over here. And then the Witch King went over, and he tried to transfix Isildur, and failed. And then what ended up happening is the elves, so you can see there's an elf right here, came over, got rid of the control zone of this orc, and then Isildur was able to fit and get into combat with this orc with the relic, and he completely whiffed. Again, I think he rolled like a 2 high or something, so my orc actually won the combat and pushed him back. So, absolutely ridiculous, and yeah, things just did not go Sebastian's way in any regard. So yeah, so here you can see this is where Isildur ended up. This is the elf that got rid of this orc's control zone. All of that fun stuff. Yeah, so this is basically the state of the game going into round 6. So for round 6, I got priority once again, and Isildur called a move, and I also did with the commander on the beast and the Witch King down here, because I really wanted to free this guy up. So I ended up winning the roll-off for that move, and we just engaged Isildur, and this guy ran down here, and then the beast got to move because there wasn't any more heroic moves, And so you can see this is where he's moving to, is that dice. So he is headed in this direction like this. And yeah, so once we get to our final spots, so here, tied up, and here, this orc actually passed the relic along to a Numenorian, just because he has better defense. And the Great Beast got over here. He killed, I think, 3 models on his way down over this way. And then also the Shadow Lord transfixed Isildur over here, just for good measure. Yeah, and that is where the game ends. But this is kind of where things end up at the state of the game. The combats don't really matter. I can't remember, but I can't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure we had to call the game due to time at this point. I would have, yeah, it was either that or he was broken and we rolled the 1 or 2 or whatever to end the game. It was one of those 2 things. But I really would have liked another couple turns, because I definitely could have made, you know, a beeline down over this way to get to my half of the board and get a few more points. But as it is, the score ended up being 7-0 for Mordor, excuse me. So a pretty decisive victory for me. And yeah, a pretty big loss for Sebastian, which is not really how you want to start your day, unfortunately. This was this was basically a reverse of what happened with our games that we have. If you check out the other battle reports, where he used his Mumak and just kind of ran through my guys like they were paper. Yeah, so I basically got to get revenge on him, and doing it in a tournament setting, I mean, it's nice that it happened that way. Yeah, so as far as tactically what could have been done differently, I'm not too sure, to be honest. Everything seemed to kind of be going my way, and like I said earlier, this was pretty much the best game I played tactically as well. I was able to recognize the mistakes that Sebastian made and capitalize on them. So, yeah, 7-0 victory. It's good for me. And leading into my next game, it means I'm going to be on the harder side of things, which, I don't know, it's kind of unfortunate for, you know, a list that I brought that isn't really optimized and all that. But we'll see how things play out and see how the next game ends up. So, if you like what you're watching, make sure to give us a like and subscribe. And we'll hopefully see you guys again for the next video in this Battle Report series. Thanks.